Congressman, what did you make of the news yesterday?
I'm very excited.
Were you surprised?
A little bit. I think I thought it was going to happen a little bit earlier, but then it was the back and forth. But I was very excited, I think, above and beyond my expectations of what I thought, to actually feel the excitement, to see the money, to see the energy, to see the new people, to see 40,000 black women yesterday and 35,000 black men on a call today raising money and getting rolling. You were on it?
I was on it.
I didn't get invited, but, you know. It was awesome to see, and that's what we need to beat Donald Trump. You need energy, you need some juice, you need a vision for the future, and to hear her speak today was awesome. It was like we are entering a new era of politics in the United States. It's great to be a part of.
Mark, President Biden dropping out was apparently the Trump campaign's worst fear. Are they right to be so concerned?
Sure they are. You know, they had planned all along to have Biden, who 75% of the country thought was too old to be president. Now they don't have that argument anymore. And they had planned accordingly. Their resources were allocated accordingly. And, by the way, their vice presidential pick was planned according to that strategy. Mm-hmm. And now I think it's pretty clear that they've been caught flat-footed on this because we know from reporting that they had just assumed that Biden was going to stick it out, and that's reflected in the J.D. Vance pick. I mean, that's very much a pick that was based on the notion that we got this in the bag. We're just going to appoint a VP pick that is going to appeal to the base. He's a MAGA pick, but adds no new votes outside of the MAGA base. And I think if they had to do it over again, they'd pick a different VP pick.
Well, they did it just a few days ago. Basil, Tim just referenced it. We saw VP Harris sort of making her case today, framing up her attack on Donald Trump. Do you think that message is going to be effective? What kind of impact is she going to have on voters? There are still some undecideds out there.
There are still some undecideds, and I think heretofore, I love using that word, heretofore, Democrats have actually made the
case.
Glad
you like it. You won't be coming back.
Democrats have actually made the case against Donald Trump, I think, in a fairly effective way, in that we talk about Project 2025, and I think folks know sort of the nuts and bolts of that, and I think it's very important. She now, the prosecutor, can now prosecute the case against Donald Trump, the convicted felon, the recidivist. This is a preview for what the next several weeks, 106 days, will look like and sound like. It'll be pushing Donald Trump back on his heels, constantly on the offensive, not on the defensive, and that's actually incredibly important, and including J.D. Vance in that whole calculus. And the fact of the matter is, if we're looking at the base vote, this pick energizes the base. If you're looking at suburban voters, I think there is both a gender and racial, I would say, intersectionality that brings all of these issues, whether it's reproductive rights, whether it's women's health, whether it's even the economy, all of these things come to play in the person of Kamala Harris. So I do think that she can make that strong case, and today was the kickstart.
All right, Tim, the real reason I wanted to have you here tonight. You ran
intersectionality.
You ran against J.D. Vance for his Senate seat in Ohio. What do you want the American people to know about this man? Thus far, most people, it was the first time they saw him speak last week, but you know him.
I do know him. He's a phony. He will say or do whatever he needs to do to kind of move ahead. And that's why you saw him. He was calling Trump America's Hitler. He was saying he was noxious. He was going to vote for Hillary. And then it didn't behoove him anymore politically or for his ambition. So he moved along and went to kiss Trump's rear end, which we talked a little bit about in the debate that we had with him. But he's for a national abortion ban. He thinks women, he has a terrible view of women. He's very weak on Vladimir Putin, very hard on women. He wants to have a national abortion ban with no exceptions. He thinks women who are in violent marriages should stay in those marriages for the sake of the kids. He thinks there needs to be a Caesar, and we should give absolute power to somebody like Donald Trump to fix all our problems. I think, again, some of the issues that you mentioned, but Kamala Harris is going to come out and challenge all Americans to help us solve our problems. It's not going to be like we're going to have an immunity president who's safe and can do whatever they want. It's going to be the complete opposite. It's going to be about how do we all build the kind of country that we want? How do we have aspiration? How do we inspire each other with the stories that we have? That's going to be in direct contrast. So J.D. Vance, I agree, was a terrible pick, because he didn't branch Trump out at all. And you will see some infighting there. I can promise you that.
Mark, Vance is claiming that Democrats switching their ticket is anti-democratic. Is that going to land with any voters besides the core MAGA base?
Zero. It's a process inside argument that has no relevance to anybody. They're much better prosecuting the case, as he did in that clip, to say that she's part of the Biden agenda that was not popular, and prosecute the case on immigration and inflation. It's a much stronger case there. But I will say that the interesting thing here is one. I'd say that you just can't. The excitement factor is huge, and Tim mentioned it. There was an enthusiasm gap between Biden and Trump voters of 25 points. I think that's been erased overnight, and I wouldn't be surprised now if Democrats have more enthusiasm than Trump voters do. It's not that Trump had that much; it's just that Biden had none. And now like you said, you can feel the enthusiasm in the last 24 hours, and money can't buy that. The money's going to help, but Harris has really shown that she's really juiced up the Democratic Party, and that's what really counts. And here's a quote that's really interesting. I don't think Joe Biden has a ton of advantages, but I do think Democrats do. You know who said that? Trump's campaign manager, Susie Wiles. So there's a lot that Democrats have going for them now that's now all on the windshield that wasn't there with Joe Biden.
That is almost as good as Nikki Haley's soundbite of the season, where she said, the party that doesn't run an 80-year-old will be the one to take the White House.
Right.
Okay, Basil. Wes Moore and I talked about this just a moment ago. Kamala Harris. She was a DA, she was an AG, she was a senator, and she's vice president of the United States. Yet, she is going to be fighting the misinformation machine and those who are just calling her an unqualified black lady who got a DEI position. What does she do with that?
Well, the attacks are going to come a couple of ways. They're going to talk about immigration and migration, but they're also going to focus on her background, half Jamaican, half South Asian. She's going to talk about jobs in the economy. They're going to try and hit her on that. And then they're going to hit her with, she's not qualified for the position she has, and she's not qualified for the position she wants. But you can also hear that their gendered attacks have already started, right? Comments about how she laughs, comments about how she dresses. I work with Hillary Clinton. I heard it, that misogyny and that sexism, that's already there. It's going to come tenfold. My concern has always been, if the folks that wanted Joe Biden out, I hope they are ready to defend Kamala Harris, because she is going to need that defense. But you know what? If there are 40,000 black men on a call tonight, 50,000 on a call, 50,000 black women on a call last night, raised about $3 million in small donations in both nights, I think everybody has been deputized to go out there and push all of this back, whether it comes from Donald Trump or the Republicans writ large. So that's what I would say. I would also add this little bit here. Just think about the fact that it was a black woman that broke up his businesses. It was a black man that convicted him.